Claudio, over here. We're only a few days away from your fight against Dan, so I'm curious, what are the emotions leading up to this fight here inside Madison Square Garden?
Well, the emotional control is a very important part for sure. You know, getting a big fight on a big stage. But, you know, it's just something that I've been looking for a long time. I'm just very happy, honestly, that to be here, to be part of this card. And, yeah, you know, it's history, you know, one of the best cards in the year. That's what I dreamed of when I was a kid, and now it's happening.
When you say this is what you have been working for, do you mean fighting in Madison Square Garden, fighting someone like Dan, both of them together at the same time on this card? What exactly do you mean?
Yeah, fighting on the big stages, fighting in these kind of cards, and amongst some of the best fighters in the world. That's where I want to put my name in some of the best fighters in the world.
And when they offered you Dan as an opponent, were you happy with this matchup when it was presented to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I asked for it many times until it happened.
Why specifically did you ask for Dan?
At the moment, I was looking for someone who was ranked, and one of the only names that didn't have a fight schedule was Dan. So that's the main reason.
And obviously you're known for your leg locks, especially in your last few fights. But now I feel like fans, they kind of expect that from you. Like, oh, he's going to start shooting for the legs right away. I'm sure Dan's thinking the same way. So do you have to maybe change up your approach at all to fighting someone like this now that maybe they expect it from you very early?
Yeah, that's when you switch it up. Or maybe not. We'll see Saturday night.
And then unrelated to this fight, I'm not sure how much of a fan you were of his, but this might be Frank Yeager's last fight in his MMA career. So I'm curious, were you a fan of his? Did you watch him coming up before you made your debut?
That's a good question. Yeah, I was a big fan. I still am. But, you know, when I remember when he had those almost Rocky-style fights against Gray Maynard, I was just starting to train or something back then, and I would watch those fights all the time. I would like go to YouTube and go to the highlights. Such good fights, so motivating. You know, shows so much heart, and yeah, you like learn from things like that. Watching that kind of fights, like I thought I could do something like that, you know. And I remember when I had my fight in Chile a couple of years back, people were like calling me the same, like Rocky fight, and I was like, damn. I remember I used to see Frankie and think of me like that.
Claudio, in the back. This is one of the most loaded cards in UFC history. It's probably the biggest one of the year. You're right now scheduled to open up the pay-per-view. What do you think that means? Like, you know, what the UFC thinks of you?
Yeah, I thought about this before. If they're giving me this chance, they're liking what I'm doing. They're liking. There's not a lot of love for grapplers. It's a lot more of love for like people who like KO people all the time. So getting the attention as a grappler for me is something very special. Trying to put the community out there, and yeah, I think the UFC likes the work I'm doing. Fifth straight victories is like no mistake. So I'll try to make it 6 Saturday night.